What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Keep It Hoop YouTube channel. So, as I'm recording this, the Portland Trailblazers are playing the New York Knicks at MSG, and I wanted to do a little video commemorating Carmelo Anthony and his time with the Knicks. Now, I just wanted to talk about my opinions, some of my memories, my thoughts, and we're also gonna look at his 62-point game against the Bobcats, which is also at MSG. Now, before we get started, if you could like, subscribe, share, and comment, it'd mean a lot. Also, follow us on our social media pages. It is keep_it_hoop on Instagram, and it is keep it hoop blog on Twitter. For YouTube, we've surpassed 100 subscribers. We've had a few more the last couple of days, and we are still thinking of a way to give back and show you guys our appreciation for reaching that 100 mark. Thanks again, everyone who's subscribed. If you haven't yet, do subscribe. But yeah, let's get this video started. Before we go into the video, I wanted to talk about some of. I'm gonna just go look at his numbers. Right, in 6 years, I believe it was 24.6 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists on 44% shooting. And he had the 28.7 points per game that he averaged in, I think, 2012, 2013. I think he led the league that year, which is crazy that 28.7 led the league back then. And now, guys are averaging 35, 36. But, 2012, 2013 was really the year. That was the best year to be a Knicks fan as of late. They brought in a bunch of veterans. I remember Jason Kidd and Kurt Thomas and Marcus Camby. The last two actually returning as Knicks, and then Rasheed Wallace coming back, and especially Jason Kidd and Rasheed Wallace actually played really important roles for that team. Like, I remember Rasheed Wallace came on, and he was at first kind of just a bench warmer, didn't play, but the fans kept chanting, bring Sheed in, and Sheed got, all these chants during games, and he actually started playing little by little, and he was actually a big part of the Knicks and their rotation. He wasn't playing 30 minutes a game, but his leadership, his defense, and his occasional outside shooting did help the Knicks. And I just remember that team with J.R. Smith really locked in and winning Sixth Man of the Year, and Carmelo was constantly in MVP talks. I remember them beating Boston, but it took longer than it should have. I remember this because Jason Terry I think he got ejected from a game for, I think, maybe slapping, or at least getting into Jason Terry's face, I believe. I actually went to the game after that at MSG and watched them lose a playoff game. I do think that series went on a bit longer than it should have, and then they ended up facing Indiana, where I think they just looked a bit tired. Indiana, I think it was just more physical. Roy Hibbert and Paul George were pretty good in that series, and they ended up losing. But a valiant effort, and again, that was really the pinnacle of the Knicks in recent times. So, as sad as it is to say, that was it. But it was fun to watch, and even to rewind a little bit from there. I remember when we first got Carmelo, I wasn't on board with I was on board with getting Melo. I just wasn't on board with trading for Melo because I thought it was pretty obvious that he was gonna come to the Knicks via free agency. Nonetheless, the Knicks gave up, 2/5 of their starting lineup, and seemed like 80 picks. We got rid of Danilo Gallinari and Wilson Chandler, and who knows what would have happened to them if they stayed and then Melo came on during free agency. But I remember, getting Melo was still really hype for me as someone played a lot of video games growing up. I remember playing 2K and NBA Live. I would always have a season where I kind of did a fantasy draft, and kind of just got my favorite players, and also had just a normal season with the Knicks and play with the roster that they had. And I tried to win a ring with the Knicks in a video game because they weren't going to win one in real life, which is sad looking back, but it was the best option I had. But before Melo came, right, like I was playing with Eddie Curry and David Lee and Al Harrington and Nate Robinson and those guys. And no offense to them, because those were some of my, formative years as a basketball player and a Knicks fan. But it was unrealistic to win a championship with them, and it just didn't have that same effect, right? And I've said this before, but the NBA is a league that's driven by superstars, and it was weird. Just I grew up watching and being enamored by guys like Kobe and AI, and those were the guys that made me fall in love with the game. And again, no offense to the guys I mentioned before, but the Knicks just didn't have that star power. Um, and those guys will always have a special place in my heart from again just watching the Knicks not win many games but trying to remain competitive with those guys. But yeah, I mean Melo came and well, first of all it was Amari Stoudemire, right? And I want to shout him out because he chose the Knicks when nobody else did. LeBron didn't, Wade didn't, Bosh didn't, and not just those guys, nobody else did. And he said he wanted to play in New York. He wanted to be the guy. And for those of you that don't remember, Amari Stoudemire was also an MVP candidate that first half of the season before Melo came, and he was averaging like, if I remember correctly, like 24 and like 9, and he was just double doubles a lot of nights. And him and Raymond Felton had a really good pick and roll combo, and he played really well. And now him and Melo didn't always work out, and there was also the thing with injuries, but I wanted to give a little shout out to Amar Stoudemire as well. But Melo comes over. I'm hyped. I'm excited. We got a star, and not just a guy that's just able to go for 30, 40 on any given night. And man, it was so fun to watch. And I still remember his first game. Um, him and Chauncey hit big shots, and I believe it was against Milwaukee. And then he also had him and Chauncey had led the Knicks to a big win over LeBron in Miami a few nights later. And yeah, I mean, it was big. It was really big. And then I just, a lot of the memories do again come from the 2012, 2013 season because it was so good. But, he just had a lot of big moments for us. And I know he kind of ended his tenure on the Knicks on a bad note. There were some bloopers. He had him going up for dunk and getting stuff by the rim. The Knicks are really bad some of those years, and he had dealt with some shoulder injuries, so his numbers declined a little bit. But no, I hope you guys, after watching this video, remember just how good he was. I mean, again, the stats: 24 and 7 and 3 as a Knick, and his the narrative and image of him after he left the Knicks was that he was washed up, that he was bad. And I think because that, and he was even out of the league for a year or two, and that lasted so long that I think people forgot the 13, 14 years of just ridiculous basketball this man played, and people I think just forgot just how good of a scorer and player he was. And I get that it was kind of like the thing to make fun of. Oh, like Melo sucks, and look, I admittedly hopped on that train at times, but like I still didn't forget. At least I didn't forget how good he was. Whereas I feel like people kind of diminished his whole legacy in his career and forgot that he's a sure thing first ballot Hall of Famer. Hopefully, we can watch this video and just kind of reminisce on just how good he was. So we start here. He liked the ball at the mid post, especially the elbows. A place where people don't catch the ball at as much in today's game, but that was a spot, right? Um, and the jab step was something he loved. And look at how much space he creates with that one jab step. Now he could do that because while Melo wasn't the fastest at max speed compared to guys like Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook and John Wall, his first step was as good as anybody in the league. And it's still pretty quick today, but back then his first step was ridiculous. So when he jabs that hard, defenders are forced to retreat to a degree, and that's how he's able to create so much space. And now this looks like a decent contest, but Melo gets up pretty high on his jump shot, pretty high release, and that's I mean a lot of it is fundamentals. I remember he also loved that pull up three on transition. Guys like Felton, Prigioni, even Shumpert, they'd bring the ball up off of a turnover or off of a stop. Melo would trail, and he loved to shoot those. He shot it at the top sometimes, especially from the elbows. Right, pick and pop three. Right, so he's able to do it off the dribble, off the pick and pop, pick and roll. Right, the versatility I think you're going to see, and also the fundamentals is something that's there, especially when he's in the mid range, because a lot of it's just again pump fake and jab steps. Like the footwork is so clean there, and a lot of it again is just fundamentals. And the difficult thing with Melo is, right, so that he ends up with Ramon Sessions on him. If you put a bigger guy on him, He can drive past you, go for a layup or a dunk. He's very good at finishing with contact, very strong, gets to the free throw line a lot, probably less than he should have. I feel like Melo always didn't get the amount of calls that guys like LeBron and Kobe did, even though he got fouled a lot. But again, so and then you put a smaller guy on him, he's just going to post you up, right? Again, this is what happens when you put a less quicker or just a bigger guy on him. He's able to just drive by really easy. No help from Al Jefferson there because Al Jefferson was not a defender. Um, See the little slip of the pick and roll, catches it at the mid range pump fake step back. I mean, that's so pretty. But a lot of that again is just fundamentals, right? Setting a good screen, having the IQ to slip it, catch it, quick pump fake, one hard dribble, and then step back and then quick release. A lot of people don't pick and slip or pop or roll to the corners in the mid range anymore. LaMarcus Aldridge is someone that still does it a decent amount, but Melo again able to do it off of the dribble or off of the screen. Again, that footwork is just so pretty. One jab, right? You keep your hands down with Mark Jackson, hands down, man down, and it's just so pretty from. The thing about this game is Michael Kidd Gilchrist didn't even play that bad of defense most of the time, but they didn't bring double teams or help for the whole game, which was absurd to me. Yeah, not sure what they were thinking, but they just let him go. Josh McRoberts, he tried, but bad defense on that one and on this one. Just again, the amount of space and look at how wide his legs are. You just at how strong he jabs, and then just the amount of ground he covers with his jab. I want you guys to notice because that is what helps him create so much space. But then you also have to have that core and lower body strength to come back and shoot this shot on balance after such a hard jab. But like shots just uncontested, and if Melo's even remotely on, that shows shots going in. And I remember him talking about this is a shot where he really felt like he could go for a historic night, half court shot. Yeah, I miss those times, man. I really do. And I like the new Knicks. I do with RJ and Quickly and Mitch, but that fadeaway, man, that's pretty. And Melo's another guy who was heavily influenced by Kobe, and just always had that mid range fadeaway in his package. Strong, just strong. Never shied away from contact. Got the fadeaway. One thing that I did notice watching his videos again, he liked to catch the ball a lot on his elbows, but it just goes to show you the amount of work he's put in because a lot of games now, Portland does do a good job of trying to get him in his spots, whether it's the corner mid range or the elbow mid range when they can. But obviously their offense is still going off of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. And Melo, to his, he's admitted that he wasn't the best at adjusting to that early on in his career, or early on after the Knicks, right? So like when he was playing with Russ and PG and OKC, and then even more so in Houston with James Harden and Chris Paul, he said he found it weird and just couldn't get used to it. And look, I don't blame him. He's someone that grew up highly touted and was probably, the best player on every team he played on. So teams were playing around him. They were getting him the ball in his spots, and he was able to operate kind of in whatever way he wanted. And then after probably 15 to 20 years of playing that way, you have to then switch not only your mentality, but also the physically just getting the ball in different spots. And if you're doing what I said earlier, getting the ball wherever you want and getting your shots, you're usually getting 18, 20 shots a game. And then you go all of a sudden to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shots a game. It's going to be a different way of catching your rhythm and being ready. And to his credit, he's done a great job of that in Portland, and that's I think why he's fit in so well. But it takes a lot of work, and credit to him for that. But he's done a good job of accommodating Dame and CJ and just the overall Portland offense. You see a lot of times he's out in the corners and on the elbows, and he's become really good at shooting those shots as well. But the shooting was never, it's not that he couldn't do it, but once you change your role on a team after doing the same thing for 15 years, it really does. It really isn't the easiest thing to change. And there are guys in the NBA who've aged well and developed and changed their game, and sometimes they make it seem easy. A guy like Vince Carter, but it never is easy. Right. Again, he's just able to do it all: catch and shoot, off the dribble, posting up, mid range, fadeaway. Um, right, like it's like the one guy that one time they sent help, and he's has the IQ, and the ability to spin the other way. Um, no help on baseline. Prigioni screening out. I think it was Douglas Roberts with his body. Prigioni, man, shout out to Prigioni because that was one of my favorite players growing up. Never put up crazy numbers. Always just played the game the right way and super fun guy to watch. He tried so hard. But yeah, I just wanted you guys to see just how good he was, and I know the real NBA fans and the guys who actually know basketball still know this, but I feel like after his time with the Knicks, after being out the league for a couple of years in and just some of the times he had in Houston and OKC, he got kind of this image and this narrative that he was washed up and not good anymore. And again, that was he wasn't good at times. That's true, and especially before he adapted to this new role, there were times where he struggled, but and he wasn't the old Melo, so I get that. But like I feel like people kind of just slept on his legacy and his whole career, and I think he has a chance to be top 10 in scoring. I think he has a chance to pass Oscar Robertson today, and if he could do that at MSG, that'd be really dope. But yeah, man, I just want people to remember his greatness, and if you guys are just younger fans or haven't seen him, hope this shows just how good he was to a degree. Maybe I'll do a more in-depth breakdown of his game or one of his highlight tapes later on, but again, first ballot, sure thing, Hall of Famer. Love the guy. Happy to see he's doing really well. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment if you haven't yet. We will be taking tomorrow off, but we should be back Monday with either an article, podcast, or video. Again, stay tuned for the 100 subscriber thing. Follow us on our social media to be updated on that. Again, it is keep_it_hoop on Instagram, keep it hoop blog on Twitter. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you guys soon.